The greatest battlefield is not the world outside, but the landscape within. To control your mind is not to silence it with force, but to listen to its depths and guide it toward wholeness. The mind is both master and servant. When left untended, it can become a tyrant, but when integrated, it becomes your greatest ally. Before any mastery can be achieved, there must first be awareness. To control your mind does not mean to chain it or to silence it with force. It means to see it clearly as it is. Most people live as strangers to their own thoughts, carried away by patterns they neither chose nor questioned. They drift through life, believing every voice within them belongs to truth, when in fact many of those voices are echoes of fear, doubt, and forgotten wounds. Awareness is the light that reveals what has long been hidden in shadow. When you pause and watch your thoughts instead of rushing with them, you begin to notice their shape, their rhythm, their repetition. You start to see which thoughts serve you and which ones enslave you. You realize that you are not the voice in your head. You are the one who listens. The first step toward control is therefore not domination, but recognition. To observe without judgment, to notice without clinging, to let thoughts rise and fall like waves. This is the beginning of freedom. Once you can see your mind, you are no longer fully identified with it. You create space between who you are and what you think, and in that space power is born. Imagination is not a mere play of idle images. It is the architect of your reality. Everything you have ever built, achieved, or become first existed as a picture within your mind. The world outside is born from the world within, and the shape of your destiny is carved by the images you allow to take root in your imagination. If fear dominates your inner landscape, you will walk through life as though danger lurks at every corner. If doubt fills your mind, opportunities will appear as threats rather than doors. But when courage and vision are planted deep within the soil of your imagination, you begin to see possibilities where others see only limits. You begin to attract circumstances that align with the inner picture you hold most strongly. To control your mind is to harness this power consciously. Ask yourself, what images do I feed daily? Are you replaying your failures or are you rehearsing your victories? Do you allow your mind to be consumed by anxiety, or do you teach it to create visions of strength, peace, and growth? The unconscious responds to images far more than to words. When you picture yourself as whole, capable, and destined for meaning, your psyche begins to shape itself around that vision. And when this inner image is repeated with faith and discipline, it gathers momentum until it manifests in the world around you. Imagination is not fantasy. It is the blueprint of transformation. To master, it is to choose your inner pictures with intention, for what you imagine with conviction eventually becomes what you live. The mind without discipline is like a wild river, powerful, yet destructive when left without banks to guide its course. Thoughts surge in every direction, emotions crash like waves, and impulses sweep you away before you even realize what has happened. This is the chaos of an untamed mind, a constant storm, exhausting and unrelenting. But discipline is the art of giving that river form, of creating channels through which its force becomes life, giving rather than life, destroying. Discipline does not mean rigidity or repression. It means consistency, structure, and a conscious shaping of your inner world. A mind that wakes each day without intention drifts into distraction, but a mind trained through ritual and practice learns to serve a higher purpose. The simple act of returning to meditation, journaling, study, or focused work each day is not trivial. It is the laying down of order upon chaos. These practices become the scaffolding upon which your inner strength is built. In truth, discipline is a kind of love directed toward your own becoming. It is saying, I will not abandon myself to the tides of every mood, every distraction, every fleeting desire. I will remain faithful to my higher aim. This fidelity to your purpose shapes the unconscious, carving deep grooves in the psyche that turn chaos into rhythm, restlessness into clarity, impulse into intention. And though at first discipline feels like effort, in time it becomes freedom, for when your mind has learned its path, it no longer resists, it flows with power, aligned and unbroken. Just as fire contained within a furnace can forge steel, the disciplined mind can forge a destiny. Within every human being lives a shadow, the hidden self, the side we do not show to the world, and often the side we do not wish to see ourselves. It is composed of unacknowledged fears, suppressed desires, unhealed wounds, and impulses that clash with the image we strive to present. Many believe control of the mind comes from pushing these darker elements away, burying them deep in silence. But what is buried does not disappear, it festers, and in secret it governs us even more powerfully than what we openly admit. The shadow leaks into our lives through anger we cannot explain, envy we pretend not to feel, and judgments we hurl at others that are truly aimed at our own reflection. To deny the shadow is to let it rule us unconsciously. But to integrate it, to meet it with courage, to bring its hidden contents into the light, is to reclaim the energy it holds hostage. Control of the mind cannot be built upon repression. It must be built upon wholeness. The moment you recognize your darker thoughts and desires as part of the human condition, they lose their power to sabotage you. You no longer waste energy running from them. Instead, you harness their force. Even rage, when understood, can become fuel for justice. Even fear, when acknowledged, can become a guide to growth. Integration does not mean indulgence. It means ownership. It means standing before the mirror of the soul and saying, "This too is me, and because it is me, I can choose what to do with it." In this acceptance, the divided self becomes united, and unity is the foundation of mastery. To integrate the shadow is to step into authenticity, and authenticity is a form of liberation. Only the whole self can truly command the mind, for only the whole self is strong enough to carry the weight of destiny. A mind without purpose drifts like a ship without a compass, endlessly tossed by the winds of distraction, anxiety, and doubt. Thoughts scatter in every direction, chasing after fleeting desires and momentary fears. In this state, energy is wasted, and the soul feels hollow, as if life itself has no center. To control your mind is not simply to restrain it, but to give it a guiding star, a higher aim that gathers all its scattered fragments into one clear direction. When your thoughts are aligned with purpose, they no longer compete against each other. Doubt loses its grip, for it is replaced with focus. Fear may still arise, but it becomes a teacher rather than a master. The 1,000 conflicting voices in your head begin to quiet, because they now answer to a greater call. Purpose does not erase difficulty, but it transforms difficulty into meaning, and meaning gives the mind strength to endure. This alignment begins with asking yourself, what is worthy of my mind's service? Not every thought deserves to grow roots. Not every desire deserves to become a destiny. But when you choose a purpose that resonates with the deepest part of your being, whether it is to create, to heal, to lead, or to love, you give your thoughts a sacred task. They are no longer aimless wanderers. They are builders of a vision. A mind without purpose is a battlefield. A mind with purpose is a kingdom. Every idea, every dream, every plan either strengthens or weakens that kingdom. When you hold your purpose before you with devotion, even small thoughts align themselves with its gravity. The trivial falls away, and the essential remains. To control your mind, therefore, is not to dominate it endlessly, but to marry it to meaning. It is to say, "This is the life I choose, this is the path I walk," and every thought must serve this direction. In such alignment, the mind ceases to be your prison and becomes your greatest instrument of creation. Control of the mind is not domination, it is integration. It is not suppression, it is transformation. When you master awareness, imagination, discipline, shadow, and purpose, you cease being a prisoner of your thoughts and become the architect of your destiny.